At Direct Service Overhead, we know how much trust you put in the individuals who have the privilege of working on the components of your home. We understand that a broken garage door is the last thing you want to be worried about, and most of the time, doors break at the most inconvenient times. Our professionally trained technicians service 24 hours a day, and our high-cycle parts are guaranteed to make a noticeable impact on your garage door without putting a damper on your wallet. If you're looking for need of assistance maintaining your current garage door, our team has the experience and expertise to deliver the results you deserve. Give Direct Service Overhead a call today or visit us online to learn more.
Oh, it's Monday. Oh, I hope you guys had a great weekend. Arkansas coming off a dub. I mean, that's always that makes your weekend that much better. I don't know if you guys are real big into NFL. Maybe your team won. My team's 2-0. Go Rams. 3, 2, 1. Yo, hope you guys are doing swell. Welcome to the one and only Picture on Network YouTube channel. We kind of, how these Monday shows go. Gonna do like a recap of last weekend. Look, this is number 4 now, right? No, number 3. Or is it number 4? Did we do a live show before Rice? I can't remember. That Monday before? But we didn't do a recap though, so it doesn't really count. All right, I know you guys. First off, shout out to all of you for being here. Remember to we did. I'm running out of wrestling special moves. We've done Stone Cold Stunner. We've done the Diamond Cutter. We've done the Goldberg Spear. I don't know. Just do a German suplex on the like button. There you go. Do something to the like button. If you're on your phone, you touch it with your finger. Clickety click. And, go on like that. And subscribe if you guys haven't already. And remember to check out all the links provided for you down below. Of course, we're keeping the lights on in this joint because of people like you, Patreon supporters. I can't wait. It looks like we're going to add some new names to the Patreon supporter list. To you guys who donate through Super Chat, through PayPal, if you don't want to do the $4 minimum per month thing with the Pig Trail Patreon, you guys, you come through the PayPal, or we have sponsors who help keep the lights on here, that allow me to do this. And that is, of course, one of them being Direct Service Overhead. They will repair and or replace your garage door. They operate out of Central Arkansas and up here in NWA. You can, if you want to get a hold of them, their number is attached to their description box. I've had a couple of you reach out about them and what they can do for you. So you can, again, check out their link that is down below in the description box. It takes you to their phone number, and you can talk to those guys. Travis is a good dude. He's a good guy. He's been a fan of the show for a while. Also, Stated Apparel, who sell the softest shirts in the world. All made right here in the beautiful state of Arkansas. You can check out their entire inventory. Also in a link provided for you down below in the description box. They also carry Southern Marsh and Native clothing brands as well. You know, the national brands there. They have a location down in the downtown area of Benton. For those of you who live in Central Arkansas, I have family in Central Arkansas, and I need to tell them, hey, you need to go buy Stated Apparel. They've got soft shirts and really cool logos and designs too, by the way. I'm always like, I need to I'm going to share my screen with you guys and show you. For those of you who aren't aware, check out their site. Their site is actually really cool. And they also have a Pig Trail Network column, if you want to call it that, on their menu page. You can check that out. A lot of Arkansas stuff there for you. Not Razorbacks, because you know how that licensing and all that stuff works. But they are hardcore fans down there, and they're fans of the show as well. All right, let me read your comments here really quick. Let's start off. You know how I do. You know how I do. It is A&M Hate Week, by the way. I'm just saying it. It's A&M Hate Week. Alex H. Woo Pig Baby still keeping the restaurant closed for the PTN. Listen, I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. If it's like, yeah, Ty's a little too spicy. You know, he's a little too spicy. He swears a little bit here and there, so we don't want to put him up on the screen. Or if it's like we like his show so much that our staff and myself want to just sit and watch it. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know, but I'll take it. I'm making some kind of impact on the world. Big man Ross, yo, what's going on, man? Lazuzo Eagle. Is it Las Uzo Eagle? Is that how it's supposed to be pronounced? I'm just going to call you Eagle Gaming. He says, hey, here on time. All right, man. Josh Weaver, long time fan of the show. Pizza sub from Subway and Ty heading on some bum team from Texas. Ah, yes, it must be Monday. It is Monday. Tunka Todd, yo, think we have a shot at beating those Aggies this weekend. Don't know if we will win, but think we have a real chance to get the dub, says Tunka. Big Donnelly, what's up, my man? We are on a war path, and Aggie is next. That's right. That is right. Otis Kirk needs some nasal spray. You guys, don't be bullies. Otis is a good dude. He's good people, man. He's good people. I know he you got to be careful when you put yourself out there on the internet. I'm just going to say that. Like, you got to be careful when you put your personal stuff out there, and he's got a little bit of hate for that. But I mean, the guy, look, man, he's a good dude. And I think he does a really good job, and I talk to him from time to time. I like Otis. Otis, again, is good people, and he does good work. He works hard, good job on the articles and on the website and everything. We interviewed him a couple years ago. We interviewed him, and since then, he and I we talked from time to time. But he's good people. Good morning, Ty, from San Antonio, Texas, by way of high school, Arkansas. Did I read that wrong? Good morning, Ty, from San Antonio, from SA, Texas. I assume you meant San Antonio. I'm not sure. I'll get back to you, Hoyt. Hope you're doing well, though, my man. Do me a favor, guys. Make sure, again, you like the stream. Share the content. Share. That's what matters a ton. Scrolling down. What's up, guys? What's up, Kelly? How are you? Kelly Marie, it's Monday. I don't like Mondays. I don't. I like doing the show. This is like the one thing. It's like, yes, we have the show. But then after, man. What I usually do is I start watching more film on who we're about to play. I do more research. And then, pick the kids up from school and kind of go about my day, my day-to-day week. Although this week, just a heads up, I don't know if it's going to affect my schedule. It shouldn't affect my schedule this week. But our fourth grade class was told to quarantine all week. This is not Springdale City Schools. I'll just say that, but their school happens to be located in Springdale, so all fourth grade had to quarantine. So we kept both our kids home. I don't know what's going on down there. Look, man, my kids come first. They come first. So if I think whatever, I'm not really sure about. I just want to make sure we have all of our ducks in a row, and make sure they're taken care of. So we kept them home today, and it looks like they're both going to be home all week. So again, I don't know how much. It shouldn't affect my schedule. You just might hear them getting a little rowdy in the front room is all. I don't know. Jeremiah says Otis does solid work, but his delivery is cringe. Oh, now come on. You know who I really like? Well, there's several. But who doesn't like him? Some Mike, huh? You know who I'm talking about. I'm not even gonna say that. I'm just gonna call him Mike because you know who I'm talking about. I love how he calls Texas fans just dumb. They're just dumb. They're just dumb. I love that. Man, no one says what they mean anymore. And that is what is wrong with the world right now, okay? I'm going to be a boomer. I'm going to sound like a boomer here, and I'm going all out. That's what's wrong with this place. No one says what they mean. Everything is so, corporatized and fake and phony, and we got to be PC, and we got to be careful. Man, just say what you mean. I'm going to respect someone a lot more if you got a sense of humor, thick skin, which usually the two go together, and you say what you mean. Right? That doesn't mean you got to go out of your way to be an asshole, but I mean, no one I think that's a big problem today. No one says what the hell they mean anymore. Chances of game day in Arlington not going to happen. They're going to be with Notre Dame this weekend, and also SEC Network. I don't understand this. Yeah, they're going to go to Kentucky for the Kentucky-South Carolina game. I don't know. Okay. That's stupid. I don't know. That makes no sense to me. I've seen Kentucky homers on Twitter even say, I don't understand this. Arkansas and A&M is a huge game, but you're coming here. Like, I get that they were here not that long ago for Texas. I understand that, but like, let's be real here. If this was anybody else in the SEC, maybe not Mississippi State, but if this were like their darling Ole Miss, let's say this was Ole Miss and A&M. What are the odds that they're going to be at that game? What are the odds that someone, either Game Day or SEC Network, was going to be? Is that game in Oxford? Where is that game this year? Regardless, doesn't matter if it's down at College Station. They're going to be there because that's the media darling is Ole Miss for whatever reason. Then of course Jimbo and what he's done at A&M, especially coming off a year like what they had a season ago. It sucks, man, and that's part of like. I don't buy into the boohoo, woe is us conspiracy. Everyone hates us. But then again, yeah, there might be a tad bit of truth. You go back to Mark Curls, SEC officiating. I still stand by. I think you get the D- crew. I think the worst games typically in the SEC that don't have all the buzz around them, they get the lesser, the lower ranking, the lower tier, as LSU fans used to love to talk about all the time. By the way, what tier is LSU in these days in football? But I think they get the lower tier officials, So like, but I don't buy into the boohoo, woe is us, cry it up bullshit. But like, really, why isn't anybody paying attention to this game? Now I know CBS is there, and I get that, but SEC could be there. Game Day can be there. You don't have to have just because CBS is airing the game, and that game is getting attention there, and that's great. But I want. Don't get me wrong, being on CBS is cool, but I kind of want SEC to make a big deal of this game, right? This is an old Southwest Conference rival. This is a game that meant a lot back in the day, and it hasn't been as meaningful these days, I'll admit that. But this year it could. This year it's actually pretty important. It could tell us a hell of a lot about Arkansas or even more about A&M. And it could have some kind of impact, maybe not, because I still don't know what to make of Alabama and or Florida right now. But it could tell us a lot about what happens and how much of an impact that it could have on the rest of this conference. I just don't get Kentucky, South Carolina. South Carolina is a flaming turd. Kentucky, everyone hyped up that quarterback, and then he laid a turd last week. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I really thought that was going to be a game that would get SEC attention. I love that it's on CBS. I'm not, look, that's great. Hogs win by 2 touchdowns this weekend, says Max Maestri. I wonder if you're related to Mary Maestri. You can just call me Eagle. All right, I'll do that. But see, we have another Eagle. There's another Eagle in our live stream. I haven't seen him in a while. Bloodline, someone comes in here every time and hits the dislike button. Jeez. Can you at least wait a few minutes to get offended? It's either someone offended or, I don't know. It could be. Look, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. And regardless, when they hit that dislike button, guess what? It still counts towards the algorithm. It still counts as a view. So, I'll take it. Hot Springs Dam says BMD. BMD, I saw your comment earlier and you deleted it. I wish you hadn't deleted it because I couldn't finish it. You said you were tired of my horse shit. I haven't heard that one in a while. I appreciate it. I think it started off with I've been watching you for 4 years and I'm tired of your horse shit. 4 years. And you're now tired of my horse shit. Or maybe you've enjoyed the horse shit for 4 years. I don't typically like Mondays, but my client canceled, so I don't have to work today. Good for you, Kelly. So Jonathan says the Gamecocks. The Gamecocks suck. SEC is worried that we're going to beat A&M. Yeah, is that one of their bell cows, right? BMD says, speaking of SEC officiating, anyone see the cluster with MSU and Memphis? I saw that, and I saw the Auburn-Penn State game. Oh, my gosh. Did you – first off, okay, Penn State impressed me a little bit. Not going to lie. They impressed me. I don't have a problem with putting them in the top 10. I don't see them as a playoff contender, but if we had the expansion of the playoffs, an 8-team or whatever, however much more you want to add on, yeah, I think they would be. They look pretty tough. I kind of thought they were overrated, and again, the way they just fought against horrific officiating, and you saw how they won the game, and Auburn did. They made some mistakes for sure. SEC officiating is just bad. It makes no sense, says Dylan. I agree. Mark McConaughey, I think the reasons why they didn't go to Dallas is it's off campus, and that is true. That is a good point. That is a very good point because neither one of them have ever been to this game, I don't believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but since the SEC Network's formation, right, which was what, 2012? Was that their first year? I feel like it was 2012. I don't think they've ever been to this game. There have been some games where they were meaningful, and I was trying to look at this earlier. Arkansas, I had the old media guide out. So 2012, neither team was ranked. Okay, skip to 2013. We know what was going on that year, but A&M was ranked. They were top 10. Arkansas was coming in at 3-1, coming off a loss to Rutgers. Can you believe you got swept by the Rutgers? Does that not still just bother people? I think that bothers me more than the Monroe loss. Because like every school has a couple of those kind of losses. For Arkansas, they've got more than a couple. Unfortunately, you go all the way back to Citadel. Of course, Monroe in 2012. You fast forward a little bit in the Bielema era, you had some disappointing losses like Kent State. But yeah, no, I'm looking at this, and I don't think I'm trying to look at when there was a couple of years there where they were ranked, where both teams were ranked. So 2016, they were both ranked. Arkansas at 17th, A&M at 10th. Arkansas, of course, lost that one 24-45. 2015, they were coming in at 1-3 or 1-2. This is hard. I got the light beaming in my eyes, and my eyesight's just not doing it today. So yeah, it's been a hot minute since this game has actually been relevant. But there've been years where it felt like, even on paper, like, okay, Arkansas, not bad. I mean, they're not horrible. All right, you go back to 2016. You come into that game, you're undefeated at 3-0. Again, 17-10. Game day wasn't there. I don't believe game day was there. Or not game day. Excuse me. The SEC Network. They weren't there at that game. So there's been at least a couple of opportunities, and they've not been there. So maybe that is it. Maybe it's the fact that there's not the college environment. I don't know what tailgating is like outside. I don't know if there's much of a setup for. I don't think there's any setup for students outside. Like, hey, get all the students here and get them all to be, or get a bunch of fans and students and make them all rowdy and let's set it up. I mean, I'm sure they could. I'm sure all you got to do is set up the get the setup right with the podium where the guys sit, where Tebow and all those guys sit, and then just put up the whole thing. The set that you see every week with Paul Feinbaum. I'm sure people will line up, put up some fencing behind it, put the net down with the SEC netting. Of course people are going to pile in behind that, right? And then there's your shot. There's your shot. Me over here acting like I'm a professional set man or something. But I don't know. I feel like there have been a couple opportunities where they could have been there and they haven't been. Maybe that's why. Maybe they want to be somewhere where they're on campus. And that's a very valid point. Penn State still creeps me with the Sandusky stuff. Yeah, I lost a lot of respect. And you know, I used to like that. I really did. I used to like Penn State. I used to enjoy watching them play football. I love their helmets. I love their look. Just simplistic, the tradition, the history with that school. Who didn't before all that didn't love Joe Pa, and then you knew Sandusky was like this great coach, and then who knew what was really going on. And since then, it's weird. I can't help. Every time I see them, I'm like, ugh. I have no bitterness towards them. I don't think Arkansas has ever played them. Shane Beamer went full cray-cray on the media. He sure did. Called it out, didn't he? If we keep winning, game day could be there for Georgia. Look, man, I mean, it could get real. All right, let's get into the notes. We're at 23 minutes. I'm digging it. Hogs now ranked in the top 20 in all three quote-unquote major polls. AP, you're at 16th. ESPN, they're at 16th. Coaches who've been the most skeptical of the polls, right? After Texas, I think the coaches had him at like 24th. Isn't that right? They had him at 24th. Everyone else had him at like 20th or whatever. I get it, I get it. Maybe they thought Texas was just drastically overrated. I don't know. By the way, Texas laid down a flat-out ass whooping on Rice. I mean, it was just destruction for Rice. Now, to be fair, they've had kind of a tough schedule to start out, and they're ready for their bye week, I'm sure, but Texas killed them. What was the score? Like 55-0 or something. It was crazy. So, yeah, you're ranked in all three polls. AP, ESPN. Again, you're 16th AP, 16th ESPN, and 18th on coaches. Danny West on Twitter pointed this out. Vito, I can never pronounce this dude's last name. Calvaruso, the kicker for Arkansas, has kicked off 24 times and has 20 touchbacks. It's the third most in the nation. Cameron Little is one of 6 kickers in the nation who are 6 of 6 on field goals, and that's great. I know I'm going to have someone come in and be like, ha, 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 you were wrong, Ty. Special teams is improved. Okay, yeah, but we realize you've also got a punt, right? Punt coverage, punt return, kick return. I think last I had seen on kick returns, they're one of the worst again on kick return yardage. Now that's difficult. I wouldn't even take that with much because a lot of teams now they're fair catching and but they've had their gaffes every week. This week they had one minor little gaff, but then he was able to pick it up and all was fine. Bishop on kick return. I don't know, man. Every week there's something. I'm going to give them credit, though. I know someone's going to bitch about me complaining. Someone's going to bitch about me bitching about it. But I'm going to give them more. I'm going to give credit where credit's due. Special teams, they've gotten better week after week after week. You could see you could see the changes. They're doing better. I'm going to give them credit for that. I've really enjoyed. I've enjoyed seeing that. And like I said, I wanted to see this. You guys know where I was at a year ago, and I was told over and over, they'll be fine, they'll be fine. They kind of struggled there, especially those first 2 games, but we're seeing them bounce back and playing much better. By the way, punter had a 60-yarder. And he had how many punts downside the 20? I think it was 1 at least. So you're going to take that. Field position matters for sure. Players, I kind of want to do this every 3 games if I can remember, but I wanted to do this, players who have surprised me so far in 2021. I know I could probably point to Cam Little. I didn't add him to my list yet because I want to see like a 49-yarder, right? I want to see, but he is great. There's no doubt he's off to a great start, I should say. He's off to a wonderful start, 100% extra points on the extra point percentage there, and then he's also 6 for 6 on the year on field goals. That's great. But I've got 3 guys here. May not shock anybody, but then I don't know, maybe. But I will say this: Warren Thompson is on the to be considered part of this list. Cam Little is on that as well. You could probably name. I wasn't so sure about AJ Green because he had missed spring. He wasn't here during the spring. Raheem Sanders was, but AJ Green, who clearly I think has the highest ceiling of all these backs. I don't know. It's kind of a toss up because they've all looked good. I mean, look at Dominic Johnson. He's looked wonderful. But AJ Green, I wanted to add to this list, so he's on my. He's on the outside looking in on this, but did not expect him to come in, and we're starting to see him get more and more involved week to week in the offense, especially go back to Texas. He's not on this, but he's an honorable mention, and we've seen him again. He's on the field more and more. I wanted to put Raheem Sanders here, but look, even when Raheem Sanders wasn't 100% in the spring, he was dealing with an ankle injury. He still looked good. And he looked, all we heard about through fall camp was, okay, he's probably going to end up taking up the majority of the carries. We knew it was going to be a running back by committee. We knew we're going to see probably 3 backs every game. Like I feel like we had a pretty good idea that was going to happen. If not, at least 2 backs, because everybody uses 2 backs. But you felt like you're going to see 3, maybe 4. And this year, how many different backs have touched the ball? 6. So, but Raheem doesn't make this list because what we're seeing from him isn't shocking. All we heard through fall camp was this guy was just a monster. Not shocking. But actually, there's a difference too, though. Like, there's guys who practice well, right? There's guys who do really, really well throughout fall camp, and then they don't do anything. And one of those guys have made my list, who typically that's been the case, and that's Tyson Morris. He doesn't blow you away on the stat sheet just yet, but we're seeing him bail out the passing game. We've seen him do that now 2 weeks. When the passing game was just kind of, what are we doing here? What's going on? We're dropping balls. We're overthrowing guys. Tyson Morris has bailed KJ out at least twice this year. He had 2 catches for 61 yards and a touchdown against Georgia Southern. But on the year, he has 6 catches for nearly 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's been and I have it noted here, he's been a great offseason guy with next to 0 on-the-field production until this year. But he's been there. When Arkansas's needed it most, he stepped up. Last year, he caught a grand total of 7 passes for just 67 yards. He's already above his touchdown total because he had 1 a year ago. He's above his yards per game total, and he's just 1 catch away from tying his total from a year ago. Tyson Morris, someone brought this up in Discord. We're not talking enough about Tyson Morris. I probably should have, but we've seen this from him for the past couple of years at Arkansas, where he was a workout warrior. Right? He was great, either in spring, we'd see him kind of like we saw John David, right, in the spring. Like, ooh, John David's going to be the man. We're not seeing John David this year. That's kind of been the case with Tyson Morris in past years. Had a strong fall camp. Was really good. Improved this year. I think Sam Pittman said he was one of the more improved players, if I remember right. But now we're seeing him actually, all that offseason work is translating to on-the-field production. Is he the Mike Woods in this offense? It certainly looks like he's going to be that guy to take that role. Now, it's different because last year it felt like you were more, the goal was to throw for 280, 300, or 250, 280 a game, get up to, I don't know how many pass attempts per game. I think it was right around 30. I can't recall. But now it's like, we're going to throw it like 20, 25 times. We're a run-centric offense. That's what this offense is supposed to be. It's supposed to be, the veer and shoot, supposed to be more run-focused. And yet here's Tyson Morris still stepping up. He is second. I believe he's second for receptions this year, with Treylon Burks leading the way. Next guy is Dominic Johnson, for obvious reasons. This guy was moved to tight end and I mean, like, 3 weeks into fall camp, they move him. Maybe it was the 4th week. I can't remember. It was right before install for Rice. They move him to tight end, or at least working with the tight ends. And then all of a sudden someone gets a little dinged up and they move him back. Anyone in their right mind would be like, okay, they're not liking him at running back. Something's up with Dominic Johnson. We know the tight end. I get it. Tight end, they're thin. Dear Lord, they're thin. We still haven't seen Hudson Henry. I mean, we're not even going to go down that road right now. Is it still injuries? What's going on? Is it just lack of play? But Dominic Johnson, who, I mean, think about it as a player. Hey, you've been pretty solid at running back in terms of like throughout all of spring camp and most of fall camp, but we're now coming up, we're just like a little ways away. You're not even, I think at the time, 2 weeks away from install for Rice. We're going to move you to tight end. If that were me, I'd be really bummed and like, okay, they clearly don't like me at this position, or they at least don't think I'm going to get carries because of Raheem Sanders, Treylon Smith, and A.J. Green. He comes through, and now on the year, well, in this game, he had, and he's just a sophomore, by the way, so you've got him for the long haul, assuming he doesn't transfer because the running back room is pretty crowded. Had 5 carries for 72 yards and a touchdown against Georgia Southern. On the year, he's got 15 carries for 132 yards, 3 scores, 0 fumbles. Yeah, this guy was working with the tight ends, and he clearly looks like one of your top. Well, you could say top 4 backs, and that's not a diss at all because that running back room is loaded, at least from what we've seen so far. Will that kind of fade out a little bit as the schedule gets harder? Sure, yeah. But I feel like Dominic Johnson, if he continues this kind of on-the-field production, he's going to compete for more and more carries week to week. And then, and again, this is in no particular order. Hayden Henry, he dealt with injuries a lot of his career, but he in the past he'd shown SEC level of play for he'll come in, and I think he subbed in quite a bit when Morgan and Poole were kind of when they were dealing with their injuries. He came in and we saw flashes with him, right? And it's like he got a little bit better, and then he kind of disappeared as these guys tried to come back onto the field more. But he's putting it all together this year, and I think he's already gotten national love. He's gotten conference love. People are talking about him. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't listen to much local sports radio. I just don't. I'm not going to go into why. I mean, I just don't. I'll try to catch Bernicini in the morning or the morning rush when I can. But when I do listen to them, every once in a while you'll hear them talk more and more about Hayden Henry. I really didn't think that was going to be the case this year. I really didn't. I knew he was getting better, but I always thought of him as just someone who, if someone gets hurt, he'll come in and he'll be a solid replacement. Didn't expect him to have this level of play. By the way, 5th most tackles in all of the SEC so far in 2021. 5th. All right? And he's at times this year, he's not been on the field every down on defense. That's pretty spectacular. So those are my 3: Dominic Johnson, Tyson Morris, Hayden Henry. I know someone's going to be like, well, you forgot Warren Thompson. Like I said, honorary mention. I wanted to add Warren, A.J. Green, who's more and more we're seeing a little bit. Malik Hornsby, although I want to see more of him, I really thought he was going to get to finish that game out. Instead, we saw John Steven come out. Kind of bummed by that. I mean, nothing against John Steven. He's a legacy guy. You love seeing him on the field and everything just for that reason. But it's like, let Malik finish this thing out. I feel like, how hard he's worked and he's stuck with it. I hear he's really coachable. I mean, obviously he's got a long connection there with Kendall Briles. I really wanted him to finish that game out. But you get these other guys some reps. And, I mean, you do have a facility on your campus that was donated by John Stevens' grandfathers. I'm just saying, maybe you just need to put him in there for that reason. Hayden Henry and Grant Morgan, if all continues, that's 2 Burlsworth contender. That's right. And you're talking about – that's exactly right. Trey Williams on defensive line has been plenty good. I also wanted to add Ridgeway and Trey Williams. Again, I had this laundry list of people I wanted to add to it, but we're only 3 games in. We'll check back in week to week. But I like where Trey Williams. I would even say Zach Williams has had some moments this year where he's stuck his head in there and made some good plays. Need as many back as possible for the tough SEC schedule. AJ and Rocket both have speed. Yeah, AJ's got that track speed, man. AJ is. I don't know. I'd love to know who's the fastest between AJ Green, Bishop, Malik Hornsby. Devion Warren pre-injury. I don't know that Devion, we're starting to see him come back. We're starting to see him get into the rhythm of things too. I'm curious where he's at in terms of I can remember hearing rumors about Devion being like one of the fastest players, if not the fastest player on the team. So, I had to get that check from Jerry. John Steven had to get some John Steven Jones had to get some fun. I don't know if you meant to say run or fun. Yeah, you had to get him in. I agree 110%. Get him on the field. Yes, Tyson Morris has been great. Tyson has bailed KJ out at times. I know at least one of those 2 long balls Tyson had to stop in his route, turn around, and adjust to the ball, and he did a good job. And look, KJ got him the ball, right? KJ got the ball in his vicinity, knowing, hey, I know that guy's going to end up making the play on the ball. BMD, oh boy, here he goes. You know what? I'm just going to nickname you you're a anti-statter. That's what you are, BMD. Mr. Stats don't matter. Stats lives do matter, sir. They do. Okay? Get it right. Stats matter. They're not the only thing that matters. I wouldn't even say they're the biggest thing that matters. Like, I don't know. How about when Chad Morris is putting up 220 total yards of offense week to week? You think that's the stat that matters? Because I think so. Or when you've got Chief as your defensive coordinator and he's giving up 500 yards a week. That's a stat that matters. I don't know about you. I think those matter, though. The staff can develop mud and turn into gold, says Azazian. Yeah. The Bama secondary won't look like that this week. Did they have a – yeah, okay. Bama did actually look human against Florida. Yeah, close win for Bama. They looked human, although – again, it just speaks to how – is it too early in the season? Maybe Florida's a legit top 3 team. I don't know. I know last year I wasn't digging their defense at all. I thought their defense was awful. They're all gas, no breaks. They didn't have much of a defense. But they definitely pushed. They were down in the swamp. That's hostile territory, man. That is so – we know it. I'm not telling you guys anything you don't know. Running will be important this week, no doubt. Won't be open to the pass because of the passing. Yeah. So we're gonna get into our breakdown on A&M on Friday. So yeah. I don't know if YouTube. Hang on a second here. We're at the 39-minute mark, and YouTube looks like it's frozen. I don't know what is up with YouTube. Tell me if you guys, I think you can still hear me, but on my YouTube, on my studio page, it's showing it as refreshing. So I hope you guys can at least still hear me or see me. I don't know. I swear it does this at least once a week. They seem to have a lot of problems. I don't know. Okay, it looks like it's back up. Yeah, I don't know. YouTube does this once a week, so I didn't say anything. I stopped for a minute. Tell me if you guys can still see or hear me. The joys of being able to do something like this. It's awesome. Do you think we could lose Bryles to USC since they are looking for a head coach? I don't know. Yeah, it's just lag. YouTube just now I've got a yellow error screen on my page. I've never seen that before. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. All right, well, anyways, at least you guys can hear me. Florida managed to gas Bama's defense some. We always think they're immune to what they're with their depth. They kind of weren't. Saban was not happy with his linebackers. Going to be some get right this week. Hogwood, dude, that was a nice remix. Who's your TJ? Yeah? It's back. Okay. YouTube is anti-Razorback. I don't know. They seem to have – it's funny. My post-game shows never have this problem. When you would think that their traffic is the heaviest, it's only once a week I get one of these where it just does that, where it stutters. It says it's back up now. Okay. The joys of doing these live, but hey, I wouldn't do it any other way. DJ T-Bone Time, that's right. I don't know what hearing you 5x5, I don't know what that means. All right. Okay. So, moving on. We'll move on. Speaking of tackles, right? We were talking about how Hayden Henry was fifth in the country. Did you guys know Arkansas has 5 of the 10 leading tacklers inside the conference? Bumper Pool at number 1 with 30 tackles. How about that? Make sure this is still running here. Jalen Catalon, number 2 with 28 tackles. Hayden Henry, by the way, second in tackles in the SEC for Catalon, and he's got a couple of picks. Hayden Henry, number 5 with 24. Grant Morgan, 8th with 20 tackles. Remember, he didn't finish, I think it was Texas. He didn't finish the fourth quarter. He wasn't able to finish that game. And Fouché he's in at number 10 in the SEC with 18 tackles. So, going back to Georgia Southern for a second, there were some questions I had, and we didn't talk enough about them last week, but there were some things I wanted to see the defense respond to, which was, of course, the triple option. They did that. They were wonderful against the triple option. Did we see them progress in the passing game? I would say yes. Obviously, you had double the amount of yards that you had the week before that, with 330-plus yards through the air. I mean, yeah, KJ wasn't, like I said in the post game, he's missing a little bit of that touch, the touch on the passes. They're just he's lacking it a little bit. He's either overthrowing guys or he's taking their hands off on the underneath routes. He's throwing a little too hard. Again, the only other quarterback I've ever heard talk about, or with people talking about that being an issue, was Ryan Mallett. I'm not saying KJ has that kind of arm, but after what we saw with his deep ball throw to Warren, to that Florida State transfer, I'm telling you guys, we saw this against Mizzou. We saw it in spring camp. He has it in him. He's got a cannon for an arm. And he's able to get the ball in the area where a receiver can come down with it. He can do that as good as anybody. It's just that, again, it's that touch. It's that kind of pinpoint accuracy. It's just sometimes it's there and then sometimes it's not. He's very inconsistent. But I would say, I mean, you'd have to, simply because of the yardage. They definitely got better throwing the ball through the air. You feel like maybe they're going to have a little bit more confidence going into A&M with that. But yeah, I mean, KJ took a lot of heat. I mean, that's the role of any quarterback, by the way. I mean, anyone's going to take that kind of heat, right? When you look at the last couple of weeks, when you know, it's not like he's turning the ball over a ton, but he's missing he's overthrowing some people. Also, receivers are dropping the balls. I mean, you got to bail the guy out. And by the way, he's just south of like 62% pass completion. That's not great. He'll get better. That'll get better as the year goes on. I hope that it gets better as the year goes on. Last year, in his one game, I think, with what little he played last year, I think he was like sub 55% pass completion. And there's a stat that matters, because look at what we're looking at here. We're still seeing the issue with the accuracy on his balls. Again, he doesn't throw a real accurate ball. He just doesn't. And that is reflected in the stat sheet. He is probably going to be a sub 62% completion guy. That's probably what he's going to be. But maybe that's also because, you know, Kendall, as the year goes on, he's stretching the field out. He's trying to stretch the field out more. They're lining up more verts downfield, you know, more go routes downfield, trying to hit the long ball, trying to do a little bit more of that. Maybe that's why his stat sheet might drop a little bit. Those are the lowest percentage throws. Those are the lowest percentage throws are deep balls, typically, not always. Just always depends on the quarterback. But, you know, I think the passing game got better this week, at least in terms of confidence, right? So, and the other thing they did too is they clearly didn't overlook Georgia Southern. They didn't. They were. I mean, that was a question, right? I mean, Rice was their first non-conference game that Sam Pittman coached against. The first as Kendall Briles as the OC at Arkansas, Odom as the DC at Arkansas. Like, how were they going to handle Rice? Well, if you look at the first half again, I've beat you guys over the head with it. First half was atrocious. They responded, made second half adjustments. It looks to me like Arkansas is very clearly a second half football team. They made adjustments to that game and they bounced back. And since then, they've played pretty sound football. I would say Georgia Southern, I would say about 70% of the time, Arkansas played really good ball on both sides of the ball. Mostly on defense for sure. But the offense, I would say 2.5, 3 quarters of play, pretty good. But there was kind of a concern. Are we going to get the Rice first half, or are we going to see more of what we saw against Texas? And I would say they came close to what we saw against Texas. So you wonder if they can now carry what good they got out of this game into Texas and correct what they need to against Texas A&M. Sorry, Rice. They did that, right? Let's just be real. That opening game overall, fans not too pleased. I know they weren't pleased. The staff, the players, Sam Pittman, media, no one was pleased with that. They were happy to see them bounce back in the second half and play and just absolutely crush them in the second half. But an opponent like Rice, it's hard to overlook that first half, even if it is game one. And then look how they responded against Texas. I mean, they embarrassed Texas. Like, you think you're going to come into this conference? No. It's not going to be that easy for you. You're not just going to come in here and dominate. We're going to show you why. We're going to beat your ass, and you're going to be embarrassed with your tail tucked in between your legs going back to Texas, right? That's exactly what happened. So hopefully, I'm not saying Georgia Southern was anything like Rice, because it wasn't. It was much better than what we saw against Rice. But there were some things that even Sam Pittman didn't like, and maybe they'll rebound and they'll correct those in those areas. And hopefully KJ in the passing game, they feel a little bit more comfortable with opening things up. They're going to have to. I'm telling you guys. This a little sneak peek for Friday's show. It's going to be I think it's going to be pretty physical. All right, Texas A&M, where the men are I can't read that. I am going to lose my channel if I say that. Could we expect to jump into the top 10? I don't know. If you beat A&M, we got to take it a week at a time. We got to get there. You got to beat them first, right? Why can't special teams catch a damn kick? It was broken when we got here. Yeah, I remember that. Scrolling up. Woo Pig Dustino. Hogs will beat A&M 32-14. A&M is yet to be faced with a truly physical matchup this season. Arkansas physically will catch them off guard. Yeah, Colorado, did you see them get blanked this weekend? Who the hell did they play? Who did they play? They got blanked. It's like 30-0. And that's A&M's only win. I don't know. John Chavis couldn't carry Barry Odom's jock strap. That's right. With that many tackles per person you just mentioned probably means the D is on the field way more than we would like. Still a good job. Well, I mean, what matters is they're there making plays and they're there. I mean, if you watch how this defense operates, those linebackers they're like I don't know, they're like neighborhood watch. Right? They're like the neighborhood watch. They're always right where they're supposed to be. They're supposed I say that. I don't know. Any neighborhood watch. I remember the one in my neighborhood growing up. It lasted for about one summer and then disappeared. So maybe that's not a good comparison. But I guess how you would imagine a good neighborhood watch is supposed to be, right? Like they're just always there. They keep the play in front of them and they make the plays. I can remember even good linebackers in the past missing tackles, right? Right in that second tier, right where they're supposed to be, or they're supposed to clog a gap and they miss a tackle or they bounce off a running back. And then it takes someone else, takes a safety to come down and crash and make the play. Now, luckily, Arkansas has Catalon, who has done that as well. But Catalon is just, I think he's the best overall. I don't know, man. I think it's between him and Morgan as far as just pure tacklers, right? Just guys that form tackle really well. But we've had linebackers in the past. I mean, I'm talking about guys that were all conference that bounced off running backs, that bounced off ball carriers, that whiffed on sacks, that whiffed past the quarterback trying to make a play, hanging on to jerseys, not making the play. And yet these linebackers, that's not the case. I think those numbers are actually really important, that those linebackers lead like that. And yeah, maybe they are on the field more, but I've seen more 3-and-outs in the first 3 weeks than we saw it feels like almost half of last year in those first 5 or 6 games. There's more 3. So I don't know if it's that. Maybe it's the offense at times scored too quickly. You look at the Texas game. You look at the second half against Rice. You look at the Georgia Southern game, other than maybe the second quarter. I think it's a little bit of I think it's maybe a combination of all those things, but for sure you got to have guys that can actually be there to make the play, and that's what matters, and they're not missing tackles. I've said what I've said about Bumper Pool. And by the way, he missed a sack in the backfield again. He does when he gets behind the line of scrimmage, he's missed tackles. That's all I'm pointing out. You get him at the second level of the defense, he is an elite tackler. But for whatever reason, when he gets behind the line of scrimmage, he's good for at least one missed tackle or maybe 2 per game. But he is a great linebacker. Make no mistake about it. I've bragged on him since I signed him. In fact, I think it was on a video. It might have been an edited video or it could have been a live show. I can't remember, but I said he's got all conference written all over him. And I still he has been, and he probably will be again this year if he continues. Arkansas is just blessed at linebacker right now, and I didn't think we'd be saying that. But with Grant Morgan and Bumper Pool. Now, I'm not talking about depth. I mean like those 3 guys there with Bumper Pool, Grant Morgan, and Hayden Henry. Dude, there are teams that would kill to have those 3. I mean, absolutely kill to have those 3 of those type, those linebackers. I mean, all 3 of those guys are in the top 10 in total tackles in the SEC in just the first 3 games. We know where they were at last year. I mean, hell, Bumper Pool led the country in tackles for like the first 4 weeks last season. Now, last year was a jumbled mess because of COVID, but that still speaks volumes compared to where Arkansas's been before. I know there's some Houston Nutt teams, Bobby Petrino teams that would have killed to have those 3 guys. You're blessed to have those 3. Beyond them, I don't know. Andrew Parker's seeing the field a little bit more. He saw quite a bit of second half play, actually. I mean, hopefully he builds. He's going to have to because he's a junior and he's going to be back next year. You hope that he could step up into that role, right, where Henry and Morgan and Poole have been. And look, I'll say it again. I was wrong about. I'll say I don't think I called Michael Schur a bad linebacker coach. I just questioned firing or demoting the last guy. That's all. But I underestimated Schur in this linebacker core. I really did. They're doing much better than I thought they would. Bumper over pursues. That is exactly what he does in the backfield. Thank you. Someone sees it. He over pursues in the backfield and he misses tackles. He does. He does it at least twice a game. And you'll be like, oh, Bumper, why? But at least he's there and he's good at, he'll pressure the quarterback. He'll push him out of the pocket. He loses his composure in the backfield, bad angles and over pursuit. Exactly. All those tackles that they have all missed at least one half due to targeting calls. Yeah. And you remember, again, last year, you remember where these guys were. All year, they were top 5, top 10 on the tackle list in the SEC, and they were missing plays because of either injuries or targeting calls. Same thing with Catalon. And they're still on that list. They're still one of the top. But stats don't matter, though. Remember. 5x5 means excellent signal strength and clarity. Okay. All right. Am I supposed to be able to see that on OBS or something? I don't see that I'm going to take your word for it. How about that? Defense was holding the fort while being on the field for 40 minutes. Some games they were. No doubt about that. And it's good. Like, even if that is the case, right? Even if that was the case last year, they were on the field too much, and that was the case. That definitely was a problem because the offense was so inconsistent a year ago. They were. There's no doubt about, I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that they couldn't run at the pace they wanted to because Franks was mostly just a pocket quarterback. That's what he was. He was a pocket passing quarterback. We see now he can run. We saw it in preseason football in the NFL. He can actually take off and run. I think last year he was still kind of nursing and taking it easy on his legs, but because of the surgery, and maybe that was the case. I don't know. I'm sure that was the case, but you felt a little bit more limited last year, and it put the defense on the field so much more. Whereas this year, you see the offense. We've not seen them get shut down for an entire half yet. Okay, Rice, they were slowed, but there were a lot of mistakes, stupid penalties. They stopped themselves, is what I'm saying. It wasn't so much what Rice was doing. Here, I'm going to sound like Sarkisian for a minute. It wasn't so much what Rice was doing. It was Arkansas's just the rust, the flags and all the mistakes they're making, the drop balls. But in terms of another defense of an opposing team, what they've put on the field hasn't been good enough to stop Arkansas for a half yet. We haven't seen it. Only team that has beaten Arkansas or gotten in their way has been Arkansas. So, I mean, I think that's something that's pretty cool. I think that's something we haven't felt that good about our offense since what? Brandon Allen's last year at Arkansas, maybe? Joe Fridgeway is a monster. Is that his nickname? Is that what we're calling him? Texas may have had the better running back, but A&M has is far superior line up front. I wonder what Ridgeway meal prep is this week. I'm gonna say a big steak and 8 eggs. That's just today, man. That's just today. Get a shirt made from Stated Apparel that says "Quality Depth Matters." I need to talk to them this week about that. You're not wrong. Ty, how much do we learn this week? Well, a lot, because I think A&M, and I'll close out on this, and we're getting, Wednesday, we're going to talk more and more about A&M. Friday, we'll do the breakdown, but guys, they're physical. I mean, say what you want about their offense. Say what you want about, their quarterback, who actually looked decent against a non-Power 5 school, but still looked better than he did the week before, coming in for the injured starting quarterback. He looked a little better, although you look at his pass completion numbers, not the greatest. But they're physical. There's no doubt they're going to do everything they can. They may even sell out on the run entirely. I don't know. I'm not, I'm going to watch more of their film this week, get a better idea of what it is that they do on both sides of the ball. Keep an eye on some players, but you feel like they may have gotten better this week on offense. That's absolutely a possibility. If you listen to their fans, to their media, they feel like they got better on one side they shut out their opponent. They shut out New Mexico this week. But if you talk to them, they feel like they got better. So, and they were already good up front on defense. Their front 6, front 7 are stout. They're as good as anybody in the country. So far, from what I've seen, from what footage and what games I've watched live, they certainly passed the eye test on defense. But who the hell have they played? Right? Who have they played? I stand by what I say. When you just watch them play, it doesn't matter who the opponent is. You get an idea of what they're capable of, what they can do. But then what also matters is who have they played. Colorado got blanked this week. I mean, they got shut out. So I still think A&M's defense is legit, but is their offense really that much worse? Is there, do they still have some issues on defense we just haven't seen yet, because maybe a certain part of their defense hasn't been tested? I don't know. They do look quick. They swarm to the ball. Again, they play physical. They play man football up front. But they're about to get hit in the mouth. Arkansas plays just as physical, maybe even more. So, yeah, this week is going to be fun to watch film and to do as much reading as I can do. So, all right, that's going to do it. Thank you guys so much to the sponsors, Patreon supporters, to all you guys in live chat. I really do appreciate you. Absolutely tired of those guys. Yeah, that losing streak has to end this year. They got to put it to bed. Is it 11 a.m. for Georgia? Oh, boy. Oh, man. Really? What? 11 a.m.? What if Arkansas beats A&M this weekend? Now you've got a huge game on your hands. That's just terrible. That's terrible. What happened to Hudson Henry? I feel like he'll be passed up. I don't know. I don't know if he's dealing with an injury or what. It's kind of hard to get information on these guys sometimes. I don't know what the deal is with Hayden. Or with Hudson, excuse me. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Really thought by now we would see him more. Now he has been on the field, but I figured we'd see more of him by now. But not the case. Not the case so far. I mean, it's gotten so bad they've tried moving Trey Knox, Dominic Johnson. I don't know. I'm sure they're gonna hit up Ty Richardson. Yeah, on the radio. I'm sure they're gonna call him up and ask him if he has any eligibility left. Maybe he wants to come play tight end. So I don't know what's going on there, but would really like to see him come out this year. Love to see him come out against A&M. Come out of nowhere, right? So, all right. I will see you guys on Wednesday. Again, if anything changes, I'll let you know. Remember, I do have we were told to quarantine this week. My daughter's school, not us specifically, but my daughter's school, their grade, 4th grade, they're having a quarantine this week. I don't think that'll get in the way of the shows this week. But if anything does happen, I'll keep you up to date either on Discord or on Twitter or whatever. Again, if you guys want to join Discord, I'm going to make you a link. Hang on. You have to edit it. Like every time you have to edit what you want on the link, and that's stupid. That's the one gripe I have, but I love Discord. Free. It's completely free, easy to use. It's like a live chat board with separate rooms. We keep up with high school scores. They usually we get those posted all around the state of the scores from all around the state of Arkansas, covering 7A all the way down to 2A. PTN sponsor pages there. We also have the SEC conference records page that needs to be updated today. I'll do that. So if you guys want to join, right there you go. There's the link. So, yeah. All right. I will see you on Wednesday at 11 o'clock. Woo Pig Suey. Go Hogs.